Shalom, it's the 18th of August and I want to discuss Hebrews 2 verse 9 and 11 to 14. The main theme is, what I can glean from that is abolishing death. He took away the power, or he took away the one who's got power over death. Now, that in itself alludes to the devil that's got power. So what power has got the devil? Does the devil have? Well, let's give the devil the rightful name, the Nachash, the serpent. What's the power of the serpent? If you go back to the Garden of Eden, that's where he twisted Yahweh's word and he spin it in a way to create the lie inside the minds and inside the mouths of Adam and Chava. So he's very cunning. Nachash means enchanter. So he enchants us with deception and lies, but very cleverly. It's not as blatant that you could recognize it. It's very subtle, and the lie is actually created in you through his cunning words. So that's his power, that's his strength. Now it talks about he abolished the one who's got power over death, or indirectly saying he abolished death. Now Matthew 5, people misinterpret and said that Yeshua abolished the Torah. He never said that. He said, do not think. Don't even think it. Because thinking it is the subtle lie that's been planted in your mind by the Nachash. And that subtle lie is that Yeshua abolished the Torah. And that will twist Yahweh's words, Yeshua's words, and cause a separation. So that's the model we have in Genesis. Death, Yahweh said, if you eat from this fruit, you will surely die. But they didn't die, but yet they did. So the kind of death they experienced was to fall from the higher life into a lower state of life, which is a life of separation from the higher life, where the presence of Yahweh is, which is depicted by the garden. So death, the word muth, that means to die, cease to exist, is actually indirectly meaning separation from Yahweh's presence. So humanity, since the fall of man, since that original sin, since the deception of the serpent through planting the lie inside of the mind of Adam and Chava, since that day we have all been in a state of death. And humanity in its totality, those who haven't been reborn, are still in a state of death, which is the lowest state of life, which is the physical, as we know. So that's the premise of the work of Mashiach. Now, it talks about taking away the power. So how do you take away power from someone who's very cunning and very deceptive in using words that indirectly plant seeds of lies in the minds of humanity? You need the truth. The truth is the seed of the word that gets planted in the minds of men to filter out the lies and not accept them. So the counter against the power of the Nachash is the truth, is the word. And that is how he gives us the power to overcome separation, to overcome death. But that's from our part. From his part, he's done the restoration work, because in Hebrews 2, from verse 9 onwards, it says that his children has partaken in the flesh and the blood. And in the same way, Yeshua has partaken in the same. So what does that mean? The writer of Hebrews is referring to the sacrificial system, and he will continue moving throughout the book of Hebrews about the sacrifices and the high priest and all of those things. But this is the first basic identifying the Moedim, the 7 festivals, or the 7 processes of restoration to build the bridge over the gap called death. Now these 7 stages are depicted by 7 festivals, 7 Moedim, of which the first one is Pesach. Pesach symbolism is the flesh and the blood. The flesh of the lamb had to eat hastily before they left, and they had to eat everything to give them strength. And then the blood is the blood on the doorpost, which is the covering. You are behind the blood or inside the blood. And Muth, death, passed them over, which is the concept of Pesach. Death passed you over so you can enter into life. How do you enter into life? You have to walk through the blood, through the doorpost, let the chet, step over the threshold where the little puddle of blood was in a little, cavity where they slaughtered the lamb, and then they applied the blood and painted the letter chet, which means life, on the doorpost. And then they enter in through that doorway, which is completely covered with blood. You enter into life through the blood. That's the symbolism of Pesach. Now the symbols we have celebrating that today on Pesach is the cedar. Now the cedar's got referrals to the herbs and the parsley and all of those symbolism, including wine and including unleavened bread and including lamb. So all the symbols are there to depict the last day in Egypt, the death of the firstborn, and the writer of Hebrews is referring to death and how the children who are the sons of glory, who are made holy through the one who is now glorious, who's been crowned with glory, which is Yeshua. Now glory is a term which is the word chavod. It comes from the word chabad. The chavod means honor. It's like an authority that you have, the glory. If you go back to the root word chabad, it means heavy. You have weight, weightiness. So you can weigh in if you have weight, if you have substance. You have words of substance, and that's words of authority. It also refers to the weight of the stone that's going to destroy the statue of the last days, kingdoms. So the glory of Yeshua is also his authority as the commander of the armies and the prince that we already spoke about. So death, Muth, is going to be completely abolished when you enter in through the blood. So the sons of glory are the nations who come in through the blood of Mashiach, partaking to the symbols, engaging with the first part or the first stage of the restoration process, which is Pesach. And then going through the other 6 stages will elevate you back into the Garden of Eden. So that is basically, in summary, the work of Mashiach. And all of that is beautifully symbolized through all the symbols of the Moedim, the appointed times. So that's all I have for today. I hope you have a lovely day. I'll speak to you soon. Shalom.